Hello, everyone. My name is Dustin Hausner. I'm the Jewish Outreach and Program Director for the Wayne YMCA. All our Jewish programming is funded through the Jewish Federation Northern New Jersey. Welcome to Jewish Culture and Jewish Awareness. I'm very excited about today's guests, both wonderful local leaders who do a lot of wonderful programming, but are here to talk about something really interesting coming up. Now, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so I'm going to let them talk about it, but I'd like to introduce a previous wonderful guest to our show and a brand new one. I would like to reintroduce Rabbi Meeka Simerly from Temple Beth Tikva, and our new guest, Reverend Andrew Smith from Grace United Presbyterian Church. So great to have you both on today.
Thanks so much. Good to be
here. Really good to be back here with you, Dustin.
Excellent. So before we talk about this really great event coming up, this great program coming up, you're both part of something called the Wayne Clergy Fellowship. I was wondering if you could talk about what the organization is and who that involves for anyone who's not familiar with it.
Sure. It's exactly what the name says. It's not an organization. It's not an association. There's nothing formal about it. We're an informal group of faith leaders in Wayne who kind of get together to be in fellowship, to be in community, to be friends and neighbors and colleagues with one another. Being a faith community leader has unique challenges and can be lonely at times. So it's just a group for kind of mutual support and community.
And I'll add to that I actually, one of the very first things, I'm actually more of a newbie than Reverend Smith is.
Only by a year.
But still, you have more seniority, I'm just saying. One of the things that really attracted me to be active actually in this group was the fellowship that I saw when I first joined the group. Of course, clergy come and clergy go, just like anything else, but there's a core group of people that have been working together and getting together throughout the 4.5 years that I've been here in Wayne. And one of the people that really excited me to be with and to meet with is Reverend Smith. And that is because, if I haven't said so, I'm one of your admirers, just because I think that the work that you do in this community outside of Wayne Clergy Fellowship is absolutely admirable. And when it came to take over the reins of leading this group and to kind of like organizing the different events, one of them we will talk about today, I thought to myself, I'm not going to do this alone, but I'll ask Reverend Smith if he's available to co-chair this committee. And just knowing that Reverend Smith and I can come together and work together is a real gift in my own path. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity and say that. Beside Reverend Andy, we have beautiful, beautiful, creative, real neshamas. In Hebrew, in English, it means great souls. And everybody's intention and everybody's goal is making Wayne a real multi-religious and multi-cultures environment that everybody feels welcome.
Yeah, and I'll just add just a tiny bit on there, because that last thing that Rabbi Meeka said is so important to us. We recognize that even the terminology of the Wayne Clergy Fellowship, privileges, certain religious traditions that have clergy, in this kind of hierarchical sense. So we recognize and we appreciate that there are faith traditions and communities that don't have, that formal ordained leadership. And so while the Wayne Clergy Fellowship does remain a group of, generally ordained Judeo-Christian faith leaders, we find opportunities and are very intentional to include folks from other faith traditions who maybe don't fit into that box of formal traditional clergy. So we have Muslim friends who participate in some of the things that we do. We have Buddhist friends and Hindu friends who all participate. And necessarily members of the group, they are still friends and neighbors and colleagues and participants in the work that we do to make Wayne a pretty cool place to live.
Well, first of all, I think it's a wonderful thing when anyone hears that leaders of different faiths and beliefs and ideas can come together for the betterment of their own communities. I think that's always a wonderful thing to hear about, and it's great to hear that you take pride in the diverse communities that there are and have the different type of members and involvement. So kudos to you and your this group of leaders, I'll put it that way. So I think it's a wonderful thing. So you mentioned you do some sort of programming, and it's kind of leading a little bit to what we want to talk about today. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the programs you've done previously, and then of course COVID has changed everything, unfortunately, and obviously a big shout out to those who've been working and helping families and helping those in need during COVID, and obviously for those who know people who are sick, we wish for good health and good wellness. But I'm curious how that has changed things. Are you still doing programs you've done previously, or what is the work you have been and currently up to?
So I'll jump in and I'll say generally before I discuss specifically about programming. I wanted to extend a real shout out to our Mayor Chris Vergano. And that is because Mayor Vergano has been really supportive in all the endeavors that we have been throwing his way. He's always willing and happy to, to be a part of whatever it is that we throw his way. And always with a smile and always with, of course. It's really good to know that in addition to us faith leaders working together, we also have the support of our, leaders that come from a different, place, which is the politics of this town. At the end of the day, one of the things that Mayor Vergano said that got me feel really blessed to get to know him is that it's always people before politics. And I think this is a line that we also adhere to. It's always people before religion. And we put people and the idea of coming together as people before our religious differences, before our worship differences. And that allows us, and I'll refer to just a couple of things, and then Reverend Smith will take it from there to elaborate. The first thing that comes to mind, you ask about COVID, how did it change? Well, we came together as faith leaders of Wayne with Mayor Vergano and our chief of police. And we all engaged in sharing our thoughts and prayers during time of pandemic. And that was probably one of the most beautiful things that I personally can just include in my own experiences in this town. And the second one, which Reverend Smith will take over, is our yearly Thanksgiving event. In the last 2 years, we came together in I think, I can't remember, last year we were at the Our Lady of Consolation Catholic Church. The year before, I think we were in Shomrei Torah, if I'm not mistaken.
United Methodist Church in Wayne was the year
Methodist.
before.
I'm sorry. I don't remember what I ate for lunch yesterday. I mean, 2 years ago, my God, it feels like a lifetime ago. And we've been just getting it better and better. And last year I felt, oh my God, we hit the jackpot. everything went so well. And guess what? This year we have to do this again differently than we've done in years past. And it is the only thing I'm going to refer to is that we came together this morning, a group of us, and we discussed how to be able to reach all everyone here in Wayne during this time when we can't come together in a church or a synagogue or in another house of worship. So it's all going to be, of course, like it is now via Zoom. And
Yeah.
I'll let Reverend Smith continue this this line here.
Yeah, well, I'll circle back to the Thanksgiving service, but I want to kind of reiterate that we're predominantly a fellowship, a social, a support group, if you will. So we don't have a ton of events and programs. Mainly when something comes up that we as a unit feel needs a response from the faith communities in town, we'll come together and we'll do something. So, a few summers back when there was the alt-right gathering in Charlottesville, Virginia, and people were killed, we organized a march and a vigil for lost there and for goodness and decency in our shared life. When there was the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, we organized a vigil and a little memorial service for that at Shomrei Torah, and had participation there from the mayor and town council persons. And as Rabbi Meeka said, when COVID hit, everything changed, and we felt that needed a response from the faith leaders in town. And so, just like with everything else, we kind of shifted how we were thinking about and doing things, and used the technology at our disposal, used all the tools that we had available to us to try and do something that would be meaningful and healing for folks who were frightened or grieving or angry or whatever they were feeling. And so, yeah, that's where you find us now. We still have our monthly fellowship gatherings where we get together and drink coffee from a distance, and we do it on Zoom. And now this year we're going to be doing our Thanksgiving service also on Zoom and using all the digital tools at our disposal so that we can still have this thing. The Thanksgiving service was kind of an institution in town for, I'm going to say, a couple decades. And like Rabbi Meeka, I've only been here for about 5 years, so I don't have the whole history of it. But for decades, the Thanksgiving service, it was a big thing. It was an institution in the town. And gradually, year by year, participation and attendance started to decline. And a few years before we got here, the clergy fellowship decided, that it wasn't worth the time and the energy that it took to plan it for the attendance that it was getting. So there had been a hiatus of several years. And then about, I guess it was 3 years ago now, the group decided to resuscitate it, to resurrect it, and see what happened. And it was beautiful. That first year that we brought it back, we were close to 3 hours for the service. We learned a lot. We learned a lot at that first one. And I mean, it was fantastic. We shared music, we shared prayers, we shared reflections. But each
just
year,
just too much of it.
It was just too much. Yeah. You would think you can't have too much Thanksgiving, but that was a little bit much. But it's every year we're iterating on it a little bit, figuring out what worked, what we could do better. And I agree with Rabbi Meeka. Last year at Our Lady of Consolation, everything really came together beautifully. We hit our stride. It was an hour exactly, and of course now we've had to pivot, but we are still going to have the Thanksgiving service. It'll be,
and this year we're keeping it to 5 minutes.
45 minutes.
I was gonna say each clergy gets 1 minute, gets 1 sentence.
Exactly, half a minute.
The trouble is none of us are known for our brevity. But we'll no, but we're gonna keep this in a digital format to about 45 minutes. You know, we've all been doing different things with digital technology and social media, etc. And I think we've all learned that, you know, a digital format's got to be a little bit shorter and to be as engaging as an in-person gathering. So we're still working out the technical details, but Dustin, we are extremely grateful to you for helping us out with some of that. It'll be a hybrid of, you know, of Zoom, like we're looking at each other and talking here now, interspersed with pre-recorded music and prayers and readings. So kind of get the best of both worlds. Hopefully the technology is cooperative and we're able to do it, you know, smoothly and relatively seamlessly, and still have that meaningful experience, and, you know, do it in such a way that everyone is able to participate and to enjoy it and appreciate the different traditions that are reflected there.
I'm going to take a very short moment of personal privilege, because actually that was the first community event I went to in this position, funny enough. And I remember it very well, not just the fact that there was such a beautiful diversity of spiritual leaders, but the music was beautiful. Each of the speeches were powerful about peace and love. And as just a ha-ha moment, I remember trying to look for Rabbi Meeka, particularly because I was the new Jewish outreach director. I wanted to meet the rabbi, of course. And I see these two people with guitars and singing beautifully. And I'm like, oh, this is this community. Okay, we're good. I'm happy. So these are the spiritual leaders. I'm super good with that. For those of you who don't know, Reverend Smith and, of course, Rabbi Meeka are wonderful musicians, and obviously they do wonderful services. So I had a wonderful time last year. I think, even though it's going to be Zoom, again, I think there's just a lot of great programming that's done with Thanksgiving. There's a lot of love and care with it, which is great.
And we are still going to collaborate on some music, so you'll still get that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add as well. Definitely, we enjoy it. I don't know about you, Reverend Smith, but I personally really enjoy when we do music together, because we both play guitars, and somehow the blend of voices really works. So for me, it's really enjoying as well, and so. We will share this enjoyment that we personally feel with everyone else as well.
Yeah, and getting to play with you is one of my favorite things all year. So.
Same here. Yeah.
I have a leaf blowers going outside my window, so I'm going to mute myself unless I'm talking.
You know what? Because we're across the street from each other, I can hear it.
So let me, because this is kind of the $1 million important point of it. So if I recall correctly, the event is November 24th, which is the Tuesday before, and it's at 7 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom, correct? Okay, and hopefully in the next, if anyone's interested in joining your program, they can get in touch with your offices and you'll provide the information. Awesome.
Yes.
And I expect we'll also be streaming the Zoom service on Facebook on the Wayne Clergy Fellowship page. You know, we may also be able to put it on the pages of our respective houses of worship as well. It'll probably be up on YouTube somewhere, but we still need to figure out exactly all of those details. So so stay tuned, stay attentive to things. We'll make sure we communicate those as well as we can.
And one of the things is that when we met this morning, each one of us took a little homework assignment. Each one of us clergy members and other people of faith who came together to discuss Thanksgiving. We each took our own little components of what it is that we're going to contribute. And one of the things that I'm not going to say yet until I have more details, but there will be an opportunity for members of our community to actually contribute to an organization. Again, I don't want to announce it yet. It will be announced when publicity is going to start to be generated. In years past, we supported different organizations that help the larger community with different needs. There will be such an opportunity as well. So please understand that even though the service itself is going to be generated via Zoom, we will give an opportunity for people to contribute and help the larger community. And that will be the giving aspect of Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, that's been such an important part of these services.
Yeah.
And I'll speak to previous years. I won't say anything about this year's, but in the past, this has been a big donation drive for the Wayne Interfaith Network food pantry that food to a few hundred families here in Wayne, and we've also collected for the Father English Center in Patterson. Their facility burned down a few years ago, and so we did a big drive for them a couple of years ago as well. But yeah, a big part of this service is an opportunity to kind of give back to the community, to collect and support community organizations that are doing really, really good work, and our way of picking out a little bit.
And in our Jewish tradition, we call it the mitzvah project. It's the mitzvah element of our gathering, in addition to feeling this really sense of community and connection with each other, to make sure to give and to do that mitzvah of giving.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear that even with Zoom and COVID, you're still dedicated to doing some sort of donation or giving back a service. I remember last year there was a lot of food for the food pantry and stuff. So I'm thrilled to hear that you're keeping that component. And obviously, it's however you choose to believe it, giving is always a very positive thing. So I think that's wonderful. So again, it's on November 24th. It's at 7 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom. You can follow up with either Rabbi Meeka or Reverend Smith on more details, or from other members of the clergy in Wayne. Is there anything I'm missing or that you want to highlight before we wrap up?
I think we covered everything. And again, let me say what a pleasure it is for me to be two people that I really appreciate, and it's, yeah, I think we talked about everything. And like you said, if anyone has any additional questions, comments, you know where to find us.
Yeah, and likewise, I'm so grateful for both of you and for all the work that you're doing to raise awareness and build community here. So thank you. We're looking forward to seeing everybody on the 24th at 7 o'clock.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Yep,
Same here.
So everyone out there, remember November 24th, 7 p.m. Please join these wonderful people on this. I would say it's going to be very moving, very beautiful, and in such crazy times, to have community come together in such a beautiful manner of love and peace. What more could you ask for? I hope everyone out there stays safe, stays healthy. Rabbi Meeka, Reverend Smith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone.